going from 9-2 to I think 9-6 now, something like that. It's pretty close to it. First pick was hovered over the Twisted Fate, but it will actually scout on Hui instead. Long-range artillery mage in the mid lane.
I quite like Hui as a first pick, honestly. Feels like he fits in a lot of compositions. It feels like if you're playing well in the mid lane as well, you can
As they say, where there's a will, there's a Hui.
They don't say that. They do not say that. And also, I don't know what specifically will LNG has over LGD. So, you know what? I veto this terrible joke. I'm not having any of it, Nymeara. Take it back to the factory. It needs work. Anyway, enough ranting for no reason. Smolder going to be locked in to Leah as well. Going to be there alongside it. So a bit of peel for the AD carry. Now
we do potentially have some good news for LNG. If the other answer to Smolder is Kai'Sa, Gala is one of the greatest Kai'Sas of all time. I want to see them commit towards that. I don't want to see more generic answers to the Smolder. I think in the LPL they largely haven't worked. With a lot of the other champions off the table, that's the hover. Gala Kai'Sa, I want to see it. This guy has got such a pentakill history on this champion, it would be a shame not to see it. In fact, actually, last year in 23, in the first Kai'Sa game of spring and summer, Gala got a pentakill in each of those games. Can he make it 3 for 3? I'm not going to throw that out there just yet with the current form of LNG, but it is a good spot in the draft for it to answer that Smolder, because both of them scale up at the same kind of rate, and Kai'Sa starts assassinating him on the backline.
We'll see if he's going to be able to find those angles on the Kai'Sa. We certainly know he's got the hands for it. It's just whether or not he goes for the right build. We've been seeing this kind of AP stack shift build. It's not quite the same as the build that LS has been pushing. If you've seen his YouTube video recently, talking about AP Kai'Sa and the benefits and what items can be good on the champion. Definitely worth a watch, I would say, if you want to educate yourself on how to take down Smolder, because it does feel like this is the answer right now.
So with the Nautilus locked in alongside Smolder, that will be some engage kind of locked in for LGD as well. Also worth noting that if it does come to be a bit of a fist fight in the bot side, if things start off a little earlier than before both of these champions are scaled up, you are going to have Taliyah being able to roam down towards the bot side as well. Banned in game 1, Taliyah has arguably been best mid laner on the patch for a lot of people as well. Haichao has been playing a decent amount of it. Feels like everyone has been playing a decent amount of it. So watch what happens when this mid laners hit level 6 to join the party.
See, Jack's taken off the board as well. As we look towards what LNG will try and ban away, whether they're going to just focus on more jungle bans here, or whether the buy was just to take that away from Meteor, go for something else. The Udyr banned away, so trying to remove some of the safer blind picks up there. I feel like we still see a lot of Udyr bans. I feel like we rarely see Udyr these days in the LPL. You get it occasionally, there's sprinklings of Udyr, but definitely not the blind pick that it was a couple of weeks ago.
I think that with the changes of 14.4, you're having less of the K'Sante Udyr matchup where you're both looking to have a tanky frontliner. A lot of tanks right now are just not particularly present in pro play. And with Udyr and K'Sante falling off, it feels like you're kind of left to maybe go towards something like the Sejuani, which we've seen locked in for Meteor. We have seen a couple of other champions being hovered. Zika, he'd love to play something that can give some backline access to Gala, have something that can start things off. You need just a little bit more engaged from LNG.
Do we get the Shen Nico that I've longed for? No, we don't. I can't say I'm that surprised that we don't, but Zika going to get himself that K'Sante. He looked good on the K'Sante game number 1. Multiple good ultimates, like trying to save the game, trying to get Xiaoya on the back line. It certainly can work against Smolder as well, if you can get yourself on that flank position. And there we go, Gar comes through for Burdol as well, so wanting a bit of side lane pressure there. I feel like this is a composition all about the Smolder from LGD.
Feels like you've just locked in a load of beefcake, and then like a Taliyah to be secondary carry, but also someone that can roam to Smolder and stop him getting dove as well. So they can play out as successful a front to back as they can.
Do you know, one thing I've just thought about as well, like, because one of the reasons that Taliyah's popular is that not only do you roam, not only do you do DPS, but also you can sort of peel for your AD carry. Like, your rocks are such an effective tool at blocking people diving the backline. Well, Gala wants to dive onto the backline with a dash. Taliyah just so happens to be the perfect champion at stopping this Kai'Sa diving in, assuming we're all in the right position. And, you know, it could be a very specific scenario. Perhaps Gala will find a way anyway, but where maybe Haichao's Talia can be the answer to keep Xiaoya alive on the Smolder.
Well, you have to do that against Gala's most played, most successful champion ever. This will be his 97th game on Kai'Sa across his career, 64 and 32. I think it's been banned away a lot is one of the other things, because this guy has done so much work on it. He's won international titles on this champion as well, and it feels like if you start a fight and Gala is not immediately dead, and it feels like he'll find a way to ult into the backline regardless of what kind of pitfalls you put in the way. That's how it was in the past. The problem is, LNG, they can talk about a lot of things with different players and different things about this team in the past. Can they replicate it again?
That'll be the question. Can they find their way? As LGD 1-0 up in the series, we're headed into game 2 now against LNG. And to be honest, they've got the Smolder. I feel like the onus is on LNG to win this game against the Smolder now. We have seen other teams do it, but can LNG find that opportunity? We've got lethal tempo on the Kai'Sa. I don't know if the AP build is a lethal tempo angle or not. I mean, I'm not super up to date on the Kai'Sa builds and the way that people go, but my first thought would be Hail of Blades.
Yeah, so normally it's got the Hail of Blades, so you can often... Well, I've seen some people try different Hunter runes from the Domination tree. You can go for Ingenious Hunter to help you. One, it helps you up stack tier, stacks early if you're going for Muramana. It can also help you with, I believe it increases your loot and stacks cooldown as well. And we'll see. I would imagine it's going to be the on-hit either way. And it feels like, yeah, Gala put himself potentially into a more kind of frontline tank killing on-hit build.
And you know, there's a lot of discussion about Kai'Sa builds right now. If there's one pro player that I do trust to play Kai'Sa, it's Gala. So we'll have to see how the game goes and what he can bring to the table. Like you said, the stats are unbelievable for this guy on this champion. Just being able to zone away, look for the advantage for level 2. Hung just trading a little bit, using that shield effectively. And you expect a powerful start here in the bot side for LNG. You expect Kai'Sa to be able to kind of find advantages in the lane against Smolder just by default anyway.
Yeah.
But Meteor pathing away from them.
And I realized I missed out a handful of games from Gala in this too. He's actually had over the 100 games. When you said, I wonder what if he had more games than that. This is actually his 108th game, so he's got about 10 more than I was seeing on stats which I had in front of me. But either way, you're absolutely right. It does feel like this Kai'Sa in the laning phase scales up at the same rate as the Smolder, and that's one of the reasons we're seeing more of it. And LPL Kai'Sa has typically been one of the real crutch picks for AD carries to allow them to be playmakers in a way you can't really be on other ones. They've got the early wave crash right now. You've got WeiWei heading down towards bot side as Meteor is heading away from that lane and just saying, right, fend for yourselves.
And I guess he's hoping that no kind of dive will come on through, but we'll see. I mean, Rakan plus the Xin Zhao, you've got a lot of upfront damage for a dive. Whether or not you can actually go for a dive is a different question. But we might be about to find out, circumventing the Tribrush Ward as well. Moving into the bottom lane. The wave is under the tower. Xiaoya the target. Ignite comes down. Flash comes out from him as well. The dragon has been slain. King Arthur will be proud.
Gala gets the first blood as well on his champion, the one which he has done so much with over the course of LPL and even international titles beyond that. To kill onto the Smolder, it's going to deny some XP. You've got a plate as well from under that turret. LNG getting something going on this bot side early in a way they couldn't do in game 1. That's good news for them.
In the meantime, Meteor moves up to the top side. Obviously, you got that Scuttle Crab, but no camps here to be taken, so we'll just have to go for the reset. So no real gain on the side of LGD. No opposite play available for them as LNG get that dive off. Nice proactive play. This is what we keep on saying we want to see from teams as Burdol and Zika going a bit ham at each other. Q3 is available. I don't think anything's going to come of this one yet. Just going to be trading, as always, in the top lane.
Zika was actually running a little bit low on mana. He's popped the biscuits, which can help him regen some of that. And just get forward to himself another graph stack. He'll be looking for his first recall of the game. Often in solo lanes, you're your first trades of the game like this, they're not often for kills. They're kind of more like a battle for finance to get yourself a good first back. These ones in bot lane, though, they tend to be more deadly.
Xiaoya, no flash available, so the knockup lands immediately. This is one way to deal with the Smolder, is just kill it over and over again. Call him St. George, because Gala, that's 2 dragon kills.
Dragon put to the sword once more. And now this is a huge problem, because not only are you dying early in a way that you can do against some more kill lane duos, you're doing that against a champion which can arguably outscale you as well. Kai'Sa is so strong with a lead and also at dealing with the Smolder from range. The build that we have been seeing typically has been Shiv into Rageblade, into the Nash's Tooth after, so you get yourself all of those upgrades. And that means you can outrange with the W, you can out DPS the front line too, especially if you're ahead of the game, and Smolder is not really at the 3-item huge stack value.
See what build Gala does end up going with in the end is... I don't know if he's going to be going for quite the same build as everyone else. Not going for the static shift to start with, at very least, having that recurve bow in his inventory. We'll have to wait and see what kind of build it's going to be. But Gala, I mean, the thing is, regardless of the build, when it comes to the late game, you're pretty much going to be able to one-shot the Smolder if you can find the good old angle. It's just finding that angle. 2 grubs taken by Meteor here, as WeiWei moves in and steals the 3rd one away. But again, looking towards that late game, we'll be keeping our eyes on Haichao, on Meteor, on Burdol, JinJiao, on how well they can peel for Xiaoya.
That's one of the sad things about this early game, is that it's not really been a situation which they could do anything about in this early game. I think maybe the first dive, Meteor, you've got to know, you've got to be pathing towards bot side. I think pathing away from it was a bit greedy, but it's not like Haichao could ult bot lane before level 6. He has that now, and potentially start to change the way that these fights around bot side can go. He has himself tier 2 boots to help him out even more so on the roam, so Talia with the passive, that kind of the rock surfing, and then those tier 2 boots and the ultimate means that LNG, maybe they will have themselves an extra person intruding on the bot side fights.
So I've been taking a little look at Gala's solo queue match history, and what kind of builds he's been playing on this Kai'Sa recently. Obviously you can see the Doom Quiver as well as the recurve bow. It's going to be a Kraken Slayer to start us off, as Burdol zips away on the top side. So Kraken Slayer, kind of, you know, full AD Kai'Sa, attack speed Kai'Sa here. But he's been going with things like the Navori Quick Blades, things like Terminus as well, alongside his Kraken Slayers, and then going for Zeal items. Obviously in solo queue, you don't usually get to see the full builds. Solo queue games,
Yes.
high Korean solo queue don't often go that late. But yeah, expecting full sort of AD attack speed Kai'Sa here.
Makes a lot of sense. You have to have something to just chunk through this front line. You already have the AP damage dealer in that mid lane too, so you're just looking to get as much auto attack uptime as you can. It's less about diving the back line and getting instant assassinations. Just Zika potentially finding a way. He's already used the all out. Burdol's pretty low. Might apply flash.
He does have that flash, and the hop, in fact, will be enough to get him out to safety. No TP available for him though, so Zika can just sit here, let this wave deny a bunch of minions. Hong, engage onto JinJiao. That's a flash forced already. Meteor moves in as Haichao has that wall as well. Look at the damage out from Xiaoya's ultimate. And suddenly LGD find themselves in the fight. Stun onto Wei means that'll be 1 kill. And it's into the pocket of Xiaoya as well, who's flashing for more. Gala the target, he walks away with his life. Hung into the brush, and LGD stopped the chase.
The fact that they only lose 1 person there is a miracle. LNG, it was so close to being, again, that kind of flowchart of LNG. We're so back. Oh, it's so over. It's a flip-flop between these in a lot of their games. That felt like it should have been 2 or 3 kills in bot side, because Haichao does get to the play, and LNG disrespect that. I think we're going to see ourselves a bit of a fizzling out. It's not like LGD can get themselves the dragon after this, but immediately see that the battle dance, rather the grand entrance used very early on. That's not going to be off cooldown. Fantastic small ult to everyone. Sejuani ult also pops onto everyone as well. That's not bad damage for the first rank of it this early in the game. The only thing that's really saving them is the fact that the Shinso ultimate buys a lot of abilities up, and then you have a little bit more disengage from Scout to stop quite the closing of kills.
Great little fight there from LGD, getting them back in the game, and also crucially getting a kill onto Xiaoya, which he's the one that's being dived, he's the one that's been put behind in this early game by LNG, so bit of gold into the Smolder's pocket will certainly be a happily received boon for Xiaoya. as he's just trying to farm up under the tower. 66 stacks at this point. You expect him to still be relatively on target, because that's one of the things that when you're fighting a lot in the early game, Smolder does get a lot of stacks from that too.
Yeah, every time you hit a champion with an ability, you get one of those stacks, as well as being able to kill little minions with your Q as well. Funnily enough, I believe it also applies to the Void Mites if you have like a Herald crash charge, or you get the 5 or 6 Herald grub buff. The little mites can also work with that. And also technically Belvat's little Void Remora as well can counter that. I saw a clip the other day of Smolder getting 40 stacks from a single Q because they hit a full kind of clumped up group of them. It's a long way off of that kind of value though. WeiWei's spotted heading towards bot side. His ultimates are available again.
Yeah, I was going to say you love to see it, but you really don't. You really don't love to see that. Yeah, we'll see if LGD get any chances like that. They won't get it this game though, because 2 grubs on their side, 1 grub on LNG's side, so no chance of mites outside of just the Herald charge itself.
Sounds like a weather report, particularly concerning weather report, but a weather report. There's a chance of mites.
I suppose not in this one. Luckily, for the side of LNG, here we go. JinJiao wanting to answer what has been done to his AD carry. Oh no! If the hook even hits the wall there, it's still fine because you can get the root down. But Gala, nice little dodge from him. Does mean that nothing can happen on this bottom side for LGD. And in the meantime, WeiWei is grabbing those grubs. So nice bit of play here. Although, Burdol trying to contest this one. I'm kind of surprised to see Burdol trying to contest this one. He's going to have to flash out the backside of the pit. I don't really agree with that play from Burdol.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe he thinks, hey, I can go towards Meganar and at least delay them. You can see that Meteor was heading away from bot side towards top side, but it's not like Haichao's in position to respond either. So whatever, loses a flash, gets WeiWei's ultimate. Not having the Shinzo ultimate potentially quite important because we do have, you know, potential for fight coming through from Meteor throwing an ult adds onto him. Can't be that temporary front line, but that's kind of a slim opportunity for LGD to try and pounce upon in itself. We do have first items hit from both the AD carries now. You called out the Kraken Slayer earlier as what was going to be first picked up from this Kai'Sa. Essence Reaver built up from Shaya. Sometimes against the Kai'Sa, I do actually wonder whether you can go towards something like the Ice Spawn, and this might be a dead Burdol.
Burdol hops over, Meteor is in the area. All available for Meteor. Zika show no signs of stopping, just chases them both out of the lane. Knows how strong he is with that all-out in play, with Nymeara in play as well. JinJiao takes a little bit of a hit, but really not a lot to be brought to bear by the side of LNG right now at this point in the game. And wow, we're having a quiet second game here, but I think both teams theoretically happy with scaling, right? You've got kills on both AD carries, you've got Smolder versus Kai'Sa, you've got scaling mid laners as well. It feels like while we're not seeing that much action, I can't say I'm that surprised with how this draft has gone.
I thought after the bot lane kills had come through, we'd have maybe a bit more activity from Hung being unlocked onto the map. And when a Rakan is unlocked, of course, we saw in game 1. You know, he managed to go mid lane, get some plays there. He managed to largely have a good early game before the late game problems started to happen for LNG. It hasn't really happened though, it's stalled out a little bit. That's a problem because you can't really leave the job half done against the Smolder. 2 kills and a play is nice, but you haven't stopped Shaya stacking. You haven't stopped him reaching items just yet. I'd like to see just a little bit more from LNG to make sure that Shaya doesn't have access to farm. They can't overforce it either now because Haichao can roam so easily towards that lane.
Meteor down in the bottom side of the map as well, so LNG can't really just brute force a dive or anything like that, but Drake coming up in 40 seconds. They got the first one of the game. I think LNG will be wanting to try and force that for themselves with the Kraken Slayer there for Gala. And there we go, going in as well. Gala on the back line, just free firing here. Great damage, so good at shredding these tanks. It will be 1 kill to start with. LGD throwing a couple of ults out, but realistically, nothing to be done here. That should pretty much secure Drake for the side of LNG once it's walked.
I think a lot of what informs this play is actually the trade which happened in mid lane just before this. Haichao has been kind of pushed back in lane, and the threat of walking towards Fog of War with a Hui being able to burst you out before you get towards bot lane has stopped Haichao being able to answer towards bot lane in the way that LGD would love to have for those kind of fights. You can see that in the straight 3v3, quite difficult If Talia could get that, things would be different. They are moving out onto the map now. Dragon has been started. You don't have your AD carry or jungle here.
Yeah, Meteor's not here, so Drake will be taken, but perhaps a pick. LGD start with one, WeiWei the next target. As Gala slowed, WeiWei flashes out the backside of the pit. Gala walks away. There'll be a kill for a Drake, although Meteor might just find Gala here. Meteor, no ultimate. Gala forced to flash. Nice little find on the end for LGD.
Managed to trade ghost for ghost on the AD carries, but the flash going as well means that Gala, walks away as a 3-0 AD carry after the play which happened before this Dragon play. But again, it's not like you can keep twisting the screws on this bot lane. Shaya, able to get some stacks from hitting some champions, able to get access to farm again. LGD, they're a little bit behind in this early game, and giving up 2 dragons is not necessarily what they want. It's not the end of the world right now.
Showing again some big damage down onto this tower. You can see his eyes lit up with glee. It's like, oh my god, I'm Smolder and I'm hitting an enemy tower? This has never happened before. I've never had this chance before. Gets a little bit of damage down there. He's got his Essence Reaver, obviously. Not reset in a little while, so we'll see how much gold he's actually working with here on the reset, whether he can find a second item. I don't expect a full second item, certainly, but perhaps he'll be able to get at least halfway there. He's sticking around for another wave or two yet. His Herald has spawned on the map as well.
As LNG could use that to kind of, again, force the pace of this game a little bit faster as well. A lot of this conversation is going to be continuing about how can we lock this Smolder out of the game. It has felt like you can't really just wait and see what happens in late game. We kind of know what happens with that with Smolder now. And even with the Kai'Sa, I feel like with such a strong frontline from LGD, the Gnar can help with the frontline. Of course, you got the Sejuani. Nautilus is not the squishiest support either. Feels like Shaya has a great platform to play late game off of, as opposed to if you're playing squishier champions. I don't think LNG can let the Smolder scale.
This is the thing about the AD Kai'Sa. You are very no summoners for Gala. That's a lot of damage, but actually the ultimate is enough. And now tanking the tower is Meteor. He's going to go down. Fantastic counterplay from Hung, setting Gala up, and the ultimate from Gala to dodge everything.
That was a clean outplay. If you die there under turret, what were we just talking about? Well, can you keep the Smolder down? It would have been disastrous to lose your AD carry advantage to some extent. That Shaya's still going to be able to push turrets in, but Gala 4-0 now on the Kai'Sa, which he made his name with. Very strong. He's going up towards, I think it might even be the Terminus second actually, with the BF sword and the dagger alongside it as well. If you can get towards second item and start really popping off, LGD will need to be very careful with the second level of Kai'Sa's ultimate being unlocking Gala to respond very quickly.
Zika up top using his W there, popped away from by Burdol, and it means the Burdol just gets to wail on Zika for a little bit. It's all about the W, all about the Q3 in this matchup. As long as Burdol can avoid those, he should be able to just keep on getting these hits down. The Hyper Proc's doing so much damage for him at this stage.
Bot side, yeah, JinJiao.
Quickness not available here for Hung, but JinJiao just dies so fast. The shield comes through in the last second, almost saves him, but WeiWei's ult finishes the drop. Flicks back, but blocking so much damage with his own ultimate. LNG, they get a pick and they back away once more.
Burdol ends up taking a turret top side, and it is a kill. Who does that one go over? It goes over to WeiWei, the first of the game, not going to Gala. So spreading a little bit of the gold, a bit of happiness there alongside it, but at least Burdol gets some advantage there for LGD on the top side of the map as a split push threat as the Gnar. If you get yourself individual advantages, that can be an issue. It's a little bit difficult to use that against a Kai'Sa who can jump into your lane, especially one that has just completed the early Terminus, second item online for Gala.
This is a scary, scary Kai'Sa, and he is building to shred these tanks. He's quite happy to play front to back, it seems. See if it works later on, but champs like this Nautilus are not going to survive. See just sheer damage. Good ult from WeiWei. The amount of damage that the Crescent got blocked to the end there is kind of obscene.
And it's one of the reasons we've been seeing JinJiao a bit more. Him and Alistair with a combo in 2021, if you remember back to 21 MSI. That was the kind of both of us popper ults, no one's dying for 5 seconds. And now with Alistair kind of coming back around, we've seen a couple of teams go towards that again. But even with just the JinJiao, it gives you a very big, wait, what? Hung, buddy? Right, okay, he's fine. So wondering, they're not on the right side of the map. Carl goes into mid lane, that lane's going to go down. But yes, that temporary front line, very important.
It's a much cleaner game from LNG. It's good to see. It's good to see them showing up a little bit more than what we saw in game number 1 in the series. And again, the question will be, is it enough to deal with the Smolder? Drake up onto the map. They got the first 2 already, so feeling good to get the 3rd here. And LGD looking like they don't want to contest this one. Meteor just doing his Wolves. Burdol moves back to the top side as well. So you expect this just to be taken by LNG.
Now we move out onto wider map again. Soul point for LNG early. That's a bit of a worry for LGD. You don't really want to give Cloud Soul Oliver, particularly when you're playing front to back with particularly Xiaoya trying to kite out. Movement speed differential is often what determines whether you have to flash or not. If you've got Zika running at you with a Ghost and then a Cloud Soul as well, just the base movement speed, particularly after he's done all that as well, you're not getting away from that guy. Well, sometimes the Cloud Soul doesn't matter with that anyway, but so it just adds an extra degree of threat, which means you can't exactly ignore this one. And one of the big problems with this is that typically you're trading dragons for immediate gold or for side lane advantage. Burdol doesn't have a CS lead. He did get that top lane turret, and that's good, but I don't think Burdol is at a point now where he's going to be, shredding side lanes and stopping Zika having any presence at all and being able to clear out side lanes. And that means that LGD need to find a way to stop LNG having control on the map so they don't give themselves a free fight or a free dragon for the soul point.
No, certainly not. We'll see how LNG play the map out, because honestly that has been one of our big points of criticism for LNG is objective setup and the like. Burdol, Baron Pit here, turns Mega, but he's in all kinds of trouble, forced to flash once again. That's twice now that Burdol's had to flash
Gala?
out that wall.
Wait,
in the
Gala
meantime, Gala's been ulted by JinJiao and taken down. A bit of a disaster for LNG.
That is really important because Gala loses the Ghost. He still has flash and ult, so he's not lost all of his defensive capabilities. But it means that suddenly LGD have now, half a minute to a minute to kind of gather their forces, get some waves pushed in without the threat of this Kai'Sa following onto a fight. As soon as you hit 2nd rank of Kai'Sa Ultimate, every fight which happens on the map is very, very dangerous. And as you can see right here, Gala potentially roaming up towards this fight onto the Gnar. He's not arranged to ult just yet, though. Gets caught as he walks into Fog of War and dies. 850 gold over to the front line of Meteor. Would have been nice to put it over to Xiaoya, but still, gold earned nonetheless.
To be fair to Meteor, that was his aftershock that finished the kill as well. So, there's only so much you can do to donate. And also...
Hi, could you just remove your runes real quick? That'd be great.
Yeah, when the enemy Kai'Sa that's got an 800 gold bounty on their head walks into you, I think it's better to just get the kill and guarantee it than worry too much. Because Gala had flash, Gala had his ultimate. I definitely... I'm not going to... I don't want to belabor the point onto Meteor here that I don't feel like that was one where we're worried about it. Also, worth mentioning, Xiaoya, Spirit Shojin now finished off, like you're saying, the pick onto Gala, kind of a weird angle for Gala to get picked there, a bit disrespectful for him to just walk forwards. Does open up opportunity for LGD as Burdol gets away once again. 2 minutes until that fateful Drake spawns onto the map.
We just saw there as well 218 stacks for Xiaoya, so he's going to get himself stacks on the next wave, maybe even with just another couple of champions. That's another one of them. They're going in, but flash away.
Xiaoya was ready for that one front to back fight coming our way here, and the execute is now online for Xiaoya. Zika's trying to get in the mix as Burdol is just shredded by Gala. Spiraling despair onto Meteor. The front line is pretty big at this point. Xiaoya still firing away these Qs. Doing a lot of damage back to them. LNG still winning the fight though, 2 for 1.
Another fantastic Crescent Guard from WeiWei. This Xinsao ultimate has probably tagged up more than anything else in this game. And that stops Xiaoya being able to kind of finish off the front line. Gala is still very strong in his own right, but we're starting to see how scary this Smolder can get. In previous games, we've seen the Kai'Sa be able to contest the Smolder in terms of late game. Yesterday, I think Kai'Sa won 2 games against the Smolder in that individual matchup. But in this game, it feels like the front line from LGD, if they can hold the door shut just long enough for this Smolder to do damage, can be very, very different. See that WeiWei try to get very desperately onto Xiaoya. Just not quite at the damage level yet to completely one-shot the front line. You see again, so much damage blocked. The only thing which really ends up turning this fight in favor of LNG is the fact that Burdol has a very awkward entrance into this fight. Yeah, a very different game from him from game 1.
Yeah, I had a bit of a hard time on this Gnar. The mini Gnar really being punished there. Well played by LNG to find that angle. 2,000 gold lead. Well, not even. 1.5 in favor of LNG. Drake spawning in 25 seconds, and LGD, I don't think they want to let this one go without a fight. Grouping up here in the river, now fighting for that mid-prio as well.
And you see that WeiWei walking forward, feeling very happy about himself. He's got himself Sundered Sky and the Frozen Heart, so he's pretty good as a full front lineup. Show you how much Q uptime can he get? Just to really get some good value onto the front line, to really try and get good value.
Important to mention as well that the flash down from the previous engage from Hung, whereas Hung has the quickness, has the flash himself, so could look for an angle to get onto this little Drake. WeiWei getting absolutely chopped over. Now slow down. That's Crescent Guard and an ult onto Hung as well. Zika forced away. And LGD, they win the fight without ever even really having to fight.
And the last couple of times we've seen WeiWei use Crescent Guard very well to block out the majority of the damage. He is basically CC'd down to a 3rd HP. He's healing up off of camp so he can get back into the fight, but he won't have ult. LGD, what have you got for the second fight?
Great hook onto Gala here. Keep your eyes on Xiaoya. He's got survivors. Gala is shredding through the backline. Mega Nod there slams him into the wall, and LNG survive. Gala's onto the backside though, trying to make it happen alongside Hung, but he's burning himself, and that's his support down, but he 1v1's the enemy AD carry. In the meantime, the rest of LNG have won the fight. Against all odds, they bring down the Drake.
Hung gets onto the 2v2 bot lane of LGD and allows Gala entrance into the backline, and he cleans up shop. LNG, they have found their fight. Scout will maybe be able to fight out Meteor as well.
Stun there for Meteor, but will actually just be found in the end. Haichao nearly gets Gala. The Leandries actually finishes the job. Haichao trying to get away with his life, but I don't think he will. Nice dodge from WeiWei to step away from the knockback. Extra kills at the end of the play from LNG.
However, Gala dying means that you cannot do Baron. I think maybe with Meteor dying at the end of it, though, that flips it back into saying, well, there's no smite, what can we do? They're just going towards the enemy jungle right now, so LGD, they lose the fight, they lose the soul, awkward moments for them. They don't lose Baron right off the bat, though, and that's, I guess, a consolation prize. Maybe they get another fight before that objective is fought over.
3.5 items for Gala on this. I was going to say recall on this death, let's be honest. He is terrifying. And, you know, we were talking about Xiaoya sitting behind that front line trying to get the damage out. Well, if Gala's able to do what he did in that last fight, like, this all starts onto Gala, remember, but then still finds his opportunity.
But just out of range from Vitalim. The combo just misses, 100 units short. That could have been a one-shot, but they don't have the big Smolder ult to fly over the top. They don't have that because they'd used it onto WeiWei just before. And Hung going over the wall allows Gala to get into the fray as well, and he ends up doing an awful lot of work. Single target cube, doesn't split between things. Very close on the AD carry 1v1, but it's a fight that Gala wins.
Great little dive on the backside. Haichao, though, looks for that window. No vision there, and just a great little combo. And honestly, for Haichao, this is super worth. Even though you die to WeiWei, you still get the shutdown, and you still deny that Baron opportunity like you were talking about before. 3,000 gold in the lead for LNG, and Baron on the man.
I want to just point something out which just happened here as well. You see that Gala was just hanging off of vision. He was just shadowing bot lane there to see if he could land a W and immediately one-shot this mini-nart. This is late-game Kai'Sa. Yes, in a 5v5, you get the CC. She can get blown up. She doesn't have a GA or Rezonias or something like that, but she does have a huge amount of damage, which means that if she tags a W onto you, like Xiaoya or Burdol, as they're out of position, you can very much die instantly. Watch to see how Gala can maybe become the late-game assassin that only really Kai'Sa can be from the AD carry role.
Keeping our eyes on both of these AD carries, honestly. On Gala, whether or not he can be that assassin, and Xiaoya, whether or not he can survive that assassin. It's all about Gala here for LNG, and to be honest, it's not that surprising, is it? That's not the first time we've said that for LNG. Baron, complete darkness, though, for the side of LGD as Hung moves into the mid lane, and that's Xiaoya's flash forced.
It is. I was wondering if we were going to go see an engage somewhere else. JinJiao caught out, flashes backwards.
Oh no, he's going to go straight down here. Huge pick for LNG as Hung dives onto Burdol here. He's burning a little bit. WeiWei's low as well as Burdol pulled into the play, but he's about to turn Mega, and that'll keep him alive. Stun comes across, he dashes away. Meteor with a spiraling despair. LNG can't step any further forward. Fight won, but it's only a single kill, and that's not enough for them to start Baron.
Not just yet. Feels like Xiaoya, again, can't quite get himself the pocket to do optimal damage. I think Scout's been doing a good job on the way. We haven't really spoken too much about Scout in this game. He's kind of been the secondary player himself. Of course, kind of have to be when you've got a 7-kill Kaiser on the bot side of the map. But he's been just zoning out some of the rest of this team to stop LGD from being able to get themselves consistent damage across the fight. Now, that will be harder because everything about this Smolder and late game is about your Q uptime. How many Qs can you land? With something like a rapid fire cannon, it becomes a lot easier to do that, despite the fact that LNG have done a good job of zoning them out beforehand. Third item hit, Xiao might be able to turn fights, which you couldn't do before.
Yeah. I'd say as well, like, LNG have been doing a good job of forcing flashes out from Xiao. Like, multiple fights, we're seeing him having to position without that flash available, and you become so vulnerable on the Smolder when that flash is down. Great pressure, great use of the vision denial from LNG to find an opportunity to move mid and force that flash. Perhaps a little bit of a misplay from Xiao to not respect that possibility is there, but even still, good from LNG to punish it.
Another thing which I want to highlight as well is these characters on our screen right now. Burdol's not really managed to get a side lane advantage. This is 14.4. K'Sante has been pretty heavily nerfed at this point. It still feels like Burdol has not really been able to exploit anything in a side lane. Now it's late game, you've got the Kai'Sa hanging around in Fog of War. Kind of hard to get the most out of that matchup now, but it's a shame for LGD that they couldn't really leverage what can be a very dangerous matchup for Gnar versus K'Sante.
Yeah, does feel like the nerfs for K'Sante as well don't necessarily impact the 1v1 with a Gnar that much. It's much more about I suppose when you all out,
well, they do because
it
the
affects
Q's
the mobility, how much you can chase him down, right?
Because the big opening for K'Sante versus Gnar is that Mega Gnar immediately wears off, you can't get Mini Gnar for a little while, and you just all in with all of your sticking power. Some of that has changed. It's not going to be about that 1v1 now, it is about this round getting burned down. LGD looking for a miracle steal. You can't really walk in here that easy.
This is just Meteor is stunned on the top side. And, oh my god, that was a little too close, wasn't it, WeiWei? Does get the smite in the end. And there's a knockup as well. Burdol is gone once again. He giveth and he taketh in this series, that is for sure. Flash from Haichao. Hung trying to find some more as Xiaoya. Just getting DPS down onto Zika, but this is not the front-to-back fight that they've been looking for. Meteor will be taken down. Good all coming out from Zika. Two great games from him on the K'Sante here. And now the siege can begin. LNG, they should have this in the bag at this stage. 9,000 gold lead. Haichao caught another pick as if it wasn't enough. LNG ace LGD, and they'll take game number 2.
In Gala's Kai'Sa we trust. 10 kills to the LNG 80 carry. Doesn't get a pentakill this time. He's had enough of them in his career though. And he'll be bringing this to a third game in our first series of the day.
It's kind of funny because we've been talking about the Kai'Sa all game long. It didn't feel like those last couple of fights were really anything to do with Kai'Sa. It felt more like the kind of jungle support top lane, finding picks on people, and more about finding map advantages and positional advantages over LGD, which, to be honest, I'd rather see that from LNG. With some of the games that we've seen from LNG and some of the objective setups we've seen from LNG, I'd much rather that they're finding wins through clean map play. We're going to go into a break and we're going to find out how on earth this one ends, because I have no idea. We'll see in a few.